Hi guys, today we're going to look at quadratic word problems. So everything in these word problems is going to involve one variable. So we're looking at one variable, which is just going to be x. So unlike when we worked on systems of equations where we had two variables, x and y, we just have x in these problems. And all of them will, since it's a quadratic lesson, we're always going to be using x squared. So everything's going to be involve some sort of application where there's an x squared. Okay, so first we're going to look at just some problems where you have just some unknown values, numbers that we're going to be dealing with. First step is always set up let statements from earlier in the school year. So in the first example, 7 less than 4 times the square of a number is 18. Find the number. So in this problem, we only have one thing that we don't know, one unknown, which is this number. So let x equal the number. There's only one unknown number. And then they create an equation for us. 7 less than 4 times the square, x squared, of a number. So I'm going to square the number, 7 less than that, and that result is 18. Find the number. So we're in quadratics. Whenever you have a quadratic, x squared, you set equal to 0. So I'm going to subtract 18 on both sides. I now have x squared minus 25 is equal to 0. I'm now going to try to factor. I always look for a GCF first. I don't have a GCF. I'm now going to factor this as difference of squares. This is x plus 5 times x minus 5 equal to 0. I set up two equations, either x plus 5 equals 0 or x minus 5 equals 0. In the first case, I subtract 5. I get x equal to negative 5. And in the second one, I get x equal to positive 5. So I have two possibilities for my number, for my answer. Either x is negative 5 or x could be positive 5. I'm going to end up with two final answers for this one. Okay, we'll take a look at another one. The next one, oh, that's not what I meant to do, sorry. The next one, let me just erase this so we're not. We're looking at consecutive integer problems. So it says find 3 consecutive positive integers such that the square of the first increased by the last is 22. So first, I'm going to ignore the word positive for a moment. I'm just going to look at the fact that they're consecutive integers. Consecutive integers, if you remember, consecutive integers go x, then x plus 1, then x plus 2, then x plus 3, etc. So it says to find 3 of them. So I'm going to let x equal the first, x plus 1 equal the second integer, and let x plus 2 equal the third integer. I'm going to put the word int on all of these. Now, if the problem talks about consecutive even integers or consecutive odd integers, then you'll remember that your let statements are x for the first, and then x plus 2 for the second, x plus 4 for the third, x plus 6 for the fourth, etc. Okay, I'm ignoring the word positive until the end. So I'm going to make a little note here that I'm going to save this. If it says positive or if it says negative, we're going to save for the end of the problem. Okay, so it says such that the square of the first, so the first one was x, so x squared, increased by the last, so increased plus the last integer is x plus 2, is 22, equals 22. So my equation is not using the second integer, but that's okay. I have a quadratic, I have to set equal to 0, so I subtract 22 on both sides. I now have x squared plus x minus 20 equal to 0. I'm going to look for a GCF. I don't have a GCF. This one's going to factor into two binomials. X times x is x squared. I have 4 times 5 is 20, and I need a difference of positive 1 for the middle term. So positive on the 5, negative on the 4. I now have two equations, x minus 4 equals 0, or x plus 5 equals 0. Here I add 4 to both sides, x equals 4. Here I subtract 5 on both sides, x equals negative 5. Now normally you would have these two values as your answers, but we saved it for the end. This, we said that the integers must be positive. So what I'm going to do is I'm only going to accept 4 as my answer, and we're going to do something very common with these word problems is we're going to reject. We draw a line through it and you write the word reject. We're going to reject the negative and say I don't want you, because the problem said only positive integers. So we're only accepting the 4. And you take that value and you plug it back into your let statements. So the first integer, 4, would be the first integer, and then 5 would be the second integer, and then 6 would be the third integer. And those would be your 3 values. Okay, let's continue here this way. Okay, we're going to stop there for today, and I will continue with this tomorrow with some additional problems that get a little bit different, but we'll stop here for today. All right, thanks.